Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, your host, Karl-Heinz Land.
Thank you, Connie, for the kind words. Welcome to all of you here at the second SMICS conference from MicroStrategy. Happy to have you all here from, I think, more than 17 different countries. I think the farthest guest today is from Pakistan. So welcome here. This year, the message of the SMICS conference was, is this the end of marketing as we know it? And last year, this conference was related to a title of Brian Solis as well, Engage, his book, Engage or Die. So why should we engage as a company with this new social media, with all the things which are going on Twitter, on Facebook, and so on? And today I'm starting, and my first slide says the end of marketing as we know it. And we are convinced that this is happening as we speak. I'm not sure how many from you are working in a marketing department. Could you please raise your hands so that we can see? Okay, so the majority is really working in marketing. We feel that there is a very disruptive change. And it has to do with some numbers. And actually, it has to do something with these numbers. As a matter of fact, 6, 7, 980, and 119. 6 years ago, all the technologies we are discussing today were not existing. Keep this in mind. Yeah? Mobile technology is really available for now 12 years. So the change we are going through is coming very, very quick. 7 are the hours people spend on Facebook and really chat with their friends, post, share, like things, and so on. 980 million people today are using Facebook, and the number is growing. And a lot of people, there was a very negative press about the Facebook IPO. By the way, I completely disagree. I think that was one of the most successful IPOs ever. The company is worth today more than $90 billion, and it's going on track again. But in 119 countries, out of 123 countries, Facebook is growing today. So think about it. 123 countries where Facebook is available, and in 119 out of 123, the number of users is growing. If we think about what the impact of these things are for us in marketing, and my belief is marketing will change very dramatic in a way that marketing has to become a service. We have to identify as marketeers that not we are playing the most important role, but that the user is playing the most important role. And as a matter of fact, there are some very, very disruptive trends on the horizon. And our CEO, Michael Saylor, wrote a book about these trends. He spoke about the mobile wave. And these are these mega trends. On one hand, we have mobile technologies. These things are changing everything. A lot of people believe that this is a telephone, but as a matter of fact, that is a smart service terminal. And I will explain what that means. And it is your companion every day. Yeah? I know people, they rather would share everything else in their lives, their cars, sometimes even women when they are asked, but not their mobile devices. Yeah? So this is something which is really very sticky to yourself, and it's creating a lot of personality. Local. So location is already a currency. It is important to know where my customer is and in which context he is. Social, of course, we will hear a lot of speeches about this thing from Scott Galloway, from Brian and others. And one thing which is happening in a very dramatic way is big data. By the way, who knows this device? I'm not making advertising for Nike. That is the Nike Fuel Band. And actually, it's measuring all my steps, the calories I'm using every day, and it's creating big data. It's uploading the data via my iPhone into the cloud. Yeah? So it's already there. Cars, everything is creating new data. As a matter of fact, when we really think about it, today, in the real world, we have a lot of things which are around us. Tickets, money, keys, credit cards, our wallet, ticket wallet, and so on. All these things are disappearing as we speak, and they are coming back as an application on one of these devices. If it is an Apple smartphone or an Android phone, this is a very important thing to imagine and also to remember. Because if a key becomes a piece of software, if a credit card is becoming a piece of software, if money is getting software, then it's leaving the physical world. In the cyberspace, there are no physical limitations. If I have a key and I'm traveling to the US and my wife needs it at home, I cannot share it. If I have a key and I was flying to Washington and then my wife asked me, oh, I need the car key, if it is a virtual, I can send it to her. So there are no physical limitations. And we should not make the mistakes of the Web 1.0, where we just try to take everything, put it into a new format, and use it as it was existing in the world before. Like a newspaper, just publish the newspaper the same way. You have to use the functionality. And we believe that this is happening as we speak in a very, very mature way. But what it means, if we have all these physical devices which disappear and now they come up as applications, they leave a lot of data. And if you think about what with the data is happening as we speak, for example, 30 billion new content pieces on a monthly basis, and the number is growing in a dramatic way, or 140 million tweets per day, these are serious numbers. And we have to find the insight in this data. Because at the end of the day, it's about how can I support my customer in a better, in a more open way, in a way which is more relevant. Because I think at the end of the day, social media is very much about relevance and marketing in the future as well. So if we really think about it, I think that the customer behavior in the last 6 years has changed in a very dramatic way as well. As a marketer, we always said, look, the customer was always king. But the new message is, now he expects to be treated like one. He expects that we have a very relevant service for him. And to be honest, if you think about this new candidates here, so think about this are your target customers. They are sitting in front of their television waiting for our new marketing message. I think that is not the way we are expecting them to sit there anymore. It's more like this. We have already a second screen experience. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if you know that 80% of the people which have an iPad are using the iPad while they are sitting in front of the television. And tonight, Ralf Rottmann from Grand Centrics will speak about social TV and how quick these things are evolving. The second screen, the match with the first screen, and also the usage behavior. Actually, my son, 23, he's studying in Cologne. I had a conversation with him and said, look, son, watch tonight. There is something on RTL, one of the biggest television stations in Germany, and find out what I thought. And he said, RT what? And I said, son, RTL, television, you know, remember? And he said, Daddy, do you remember? I'm living since 2 years in Cologne in a flat, and I don't have a television. I said, oh, my son, I didn't know. How could you survive? And actually he said, oh, my daddy, yeah, you as a social grandpa, yeah, you should know. I find everything on information on my iPad, on my computer. Yeah, I don't need television. I watch whenever I watch ZDF or RTL. I find it in the library of YouTube or somewhere else. So the behavior is changing in a very, very dramatic way and in a very quick way. These kings are expecting great service. Great service for them means convenience, relevance, engaging, and it should be delivered in the way they expect it. So that means very targeted, so it should know about the context, the situation. It should be targeted and it should be social and delivered on the device of my choice. So if we think about that, what do we have to do to get the customer's attention? How can we get out of the clutter and really be seen by our customers? How can we engage them in a way that they say, okay, I like this service. This is relevant. This is convenient. Because I think that convenient plays a very important role. We feel, and maybe that is no surprise for you, as a company which is doing big data and analytics, it's all about data. And to be honest, when you really, really are honest to yourself, only if I know you, I can treat you very personally. Marketing can become a service, a marketing service, a concierge service, like a concierge service. And as a matter of fact, but I have to know who you are, where you are, in which context you are, and what you are looking for as we speak. And, of course, that it is relevant. If you think about Facebook, what is a Facebook like? I think, first of all, it says something about a preference. It says something which I like, or at least which I would like to be or would like to have. As a matter of fact, it also says something about which chicken farm I belong to or which chicken group, right? Because if I say I like BMW, I like KLM first class, I like Four Seasons hotels, and I'm traveling a bit, this says something about me, right? And if I say I like Coca-Cola, Dunkin' Donuts, and French fries or something else, it says also something about me. So, and if we really look into the data, the likes in Facebook, I think that Facebook has become the biggest database of preferences on the planet. Maybe on the universe, we don't know yet. Yeah? But at least on this planet. And as a matter of fact, it tells me a lot about my customers. So this is data which is already published in Facebook. And we believe if the customer trusts you, he will open this social graph to enable some of the apps we have discussed in the past 10 minutes, where I said, look, all these keys, credit cards, and so on will become applications. And the social graph behind these applications could become very valuable to help you to deliver relevant services to your clients, concierge-like services. But there is an issue with this. As a matter of fact, if we really think about, we feel that privacy and services are two sides of the same coin. Because on one hand, only if I know you, if I know what you like, if I know your preferences, I can treat you in a very personal fashion. On the other hand, if a customer, if a consumer is not trusting a brand, he will not open up the social graph, or he will not allow that you have a deeper insight into my data. Because there is always a potential that somebody is mistreating you or not treating you in a way which is convenient and which you like, or the consumer likes. So therefore, we believe that the other side of the coin, the privacy side, is very much related with trust from the consumer into a brand. And therefore, besides the new currency location, we believe that the next currency, which is already on the horizon, and I'm pretty sure that Brian will speak about it, and tomorrow we will have our guest speaker, Martha Rogers, which has just published a book called Trustability or Extreme Trust. She speaks about how important trust from the consumer into a brand will be over the next years. Maybe the most important one, because if the customer is not letting your messages through to him, maybe your message is waste. Yeah? It's just annoying. If you don't know your customer and you have a huge, Deutsche Telekom, for example, has 40,000 items to sell, or Carrefour in France, they have 400,000 items which they sell, then you have to send every month a 2,000-pager catalog to your customers. And they have the choice, and they will select what they want or what they don't want. And the first retailers in Europe, Neckermann, for example, in Germany, they gave up on their catalogs. They are not shipping this piece of paper, 5-kilogram paper anymore. The other side of privacy is if a customer is not willing, if a customer is not willing to share his social graph, no data, no exclusive service. It's that easy, because if I don't know you, as a matter of fact, our businesses, and I know there are a lot of companies here today from very, very different areas, publishing, airline industry, telecommunication, and so on. At the end of the day, as an enterprise, we have one objective. We have to sell. And if we are not getting through our client, we have to try it in a different way. Then we still have to ship the 2,000-pager catalog. And as a matter of fact, we are kind of spamming our customers. Yeah? Because we have no choice. As long as the customer doesn't give us the allowance, the permission to market to him. A lot of people have collected a lot of likes. Some of them have, one of our customers, and you will hear that later on, FC Barcelona has 29 million fans. Coca-Cola has 44 million fans or likes on Facebook. So they have collected a lot of these things. But what does it mean? Now what? What is a like? Yeah? Let's look into a small film. So this film is a little bit speaking about the listen, learn, act. Listen to the community, learn what they really want. In the ideal way, create a service which the consumer, your customer, your prospect, potentially identifies as a service. And in a very ideal way, marketing is not only becoming a service, it's becoming a paid service. And some people were asking me, this is like of crazy, yeah? You cannot say that people will pay for marketing. I will give you an easy example. Think about this mobile device. I have the Lufthansa frequent traveler app on it, and I'm checking in. And while I downloaded the app, the system was asking me, "Dear Mr. Land, we as Lufthansa want to deliver you a much better service in the future. Please allow us to access your social graph." And I said, yes, okay. So now they have my social graphs, they know my music, they know what I like, the classics, the restaurants, and so on. Think about, next time I'm traveling, first time to London. I fly to London, at the London Heathrow Airport, I check in with Facebook and say, look, London Heathrow Airport, I'm here. And a minute later, the app from Lufthansa comes up and says, oh, Mr. Land, first time in London, welcome. Do you have plans for tonight? And I say, no, I don't. And the system is saying, okay, should we make suggestions? Yes. Okay. In which category? Restaurants, hip bars, entertainment, music? And I say, entertainment. Okay. And it checks my social graph and says, oh, Mr. Land, tonight is a concert from Adele. We know you are a big fan of Adele through my likes on Facebook. And by the way, there is a classical concert, Beethoven's Ninth, in the Royal Albert Hall. I say, okay, I like Adele, the idea. Okay, tickets available, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks. Okay, 40 bucks is fine. Mr. Land, we have to inform you, we will ask for a service charge for £3 on top of this. Yes, okay, we take it from the credit card and so on. So I get the QR code, the ticket here, and they charge it from my credit card. What happened? Marketing became a service. It became so relevant to me that I even was willing to pay for it. So it became a paid service. And we as people in marketing and sales, we should always think about, we should be desperate about how can we create marketing and make marketing a service which is so relevant to my consumers that they would even be willing to pay for it. This is, I think, the challenge we are all going through in the next several years. Okay, let's speak about what the solution potentially could be, and I hope that you will find a lot of answers today and tomorrow in the other speeches from the other speakers as well. So, today the solution is we are working with a very anonymous audience in Facebook. So we really don't know who our customers are. With certain pieces of our technology, for example, wisdom in this case, you can identify who really are your clients, the people who liked you and which gave you the permission, their token, so you can access their data. Now, you can sort this, you can make certain segments, build segments, for example, music or football players or people which are interested in video and so on. And then you can make much more relevant proposals, send messages, deals, events, coupons to this audience. So I'm not sure if you know a guy called Seth Godin. Seth Godin is a big marketing pope in the United States, and he was writing in the mid-90s a book called Permission-Based Marketing. And I think, and when you listen to Brian and also to Martha Rogers, I think that with all this new technology, with social networks, mobile devices, it comes all together. And as a matter of fact, that CRM and social networks become expansions of your CRM systems today, actually they become your social CRM. And social CRM has several advantages if you compare it with your existing CRM systems. For example, maintenance cost. Who is maintaining the data? I give you the answer already at the beginning. 7 hours per week, the user is maintaining his data in Facebook to keep it very accurate. The minute after my status is changed, people write it in Facebook. I'm not single anymore, I'm engaged or married, getting married, and so on. And we believe if we as marketeers make really sense, make relevant services out of this, that at the end of the day, your brand is not only liked, if it is done well, your brand will become loved because people will get addicted to it and really, really do much more. And people, like in the example of Connie Chimmock, which she gave from KLM, by the way, that was a very successful marketing campaign. They did also something else, social seating, where you could, based on the social graph, choose your neighbor's seat, yeah, which was a very successful campaign as well. As a matter of fact, if you do this, marketing becomes so relevant for your customer that they don't see it as marketing anymore, that they see it as a service. And if you are lucky, I think the revenue will grow with your company, the attraction, the attention with your brand, and the consumer will become a very loyal advocate. And this is what we wish you. And I hope that MicroStrategy, I hope this event can help you to give you a lot of insights, a lot of ideas in the next 2 days, what is really possible, what is feasible, and what is maybe also wished from your customers as well. Thank you for the attention. This was my introductory speech. Thanks.